Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the Racer Basketball Podcast. This is your Thursday morning fast break. For those of you listening over at racerbasketball.com or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify today, just another day that ends in Y. But for those of you watching on Facebook or on YouTube, thought we'd try a little something different this morning and bring it to you live, as the great Bill O'Reilly once said rather dramatically. A lot to get to today. Certainly a lot of moving and shaking in the portal yesterday. But first and foremost, just want to check on all our friends in West Kentucky. Last night was a night, to say the least, as I got sort of got dragged into storm chasing duty with my bride early in the afternoon, and basically just we're just driving around looking at we were in the Mayfield area, and we were just watching storms pop up from far away. And then when it was getting a little hairy, it was time to, like, all right, let's head home and hunker down. And when we were, you're just watching the radar, and you're just seeing this line of storms from basically St. Louis down to Memphis, and there's 17 tornadoes and they're all coming. And it was like, oh boy, this is going to be something. And it's one of those things where um, after having been married to, first of all, being in the television business as long as I was, but then also being married to a meteorologist, there's certain buzzwords you hear that really get your attention. And last night, debris ball was that phrase. As it started. It was probably around 8:30. Things got kind of messy in Paducah, and the tornado kind of coming from the mall area. For those of you familiar with that, sort of in that general vicinity, and it was, we got sirens going off, we got alerts going off. We're basically, it was basically a mile from the house, so it was close, far too close. For all of us. But then it was like Murray, Kentucky became the concern, and that was when the debris ball was mentioned and was really concerning. And it just, thankfully, where that debris ball popped up initially, it was, southwest Callaway County, I guess it was, where there's not it's just a lot of fields where it was coming, but it was on a direct path towards campus. And I was, it was very antsy. And so, tried to get in touch with everybody we could, just to sort of, if they weren't paying attention for whatever reason, know what was going on. And thankfully, before it got there, it just, God bless tornadoes. They come out of nowhere and then they disappear for no reason. And so everything was hopefully okay, and everybody's okay today. I'm sure there's damage on some level, but hopefully from health and all that, everybody is good today. All right, now to basketball, and it was. So I have reached this stage in my life where all I like to do, I get up early in the morning in an effort to not be so husky, and try to work out early in the morning. And then, but usually it's like post nap, I've been up since 5, and it's like, about 1:30. It's like, have lunch, and I feel like I've been up a long time. Let's just take like a 15-minute recharge nap. And I laid down yesterday afternoon for a grand total of 12 minutes. And in those 12 minutes, all hell broke loose with the Murray State basketball program, with comings and goings, just all basically happening at one time. We will start with the goings first, and that is freshman Jordan McCullum, the pride of Harriman, Tennessee, announced that he was going into the transfer portal. And he was certainly one of that 6, 7, 8 guys, depending how fuzzy the math was in terms of whether he would be back once he was able to meet with new coach Ryan Miller, and what the plan was going to be for his future. I talked with him. I guess it was the day. I don't know that it was. I think it was the day of Ryan Miller's introduction last week. It was just like, full disclosure, in Steve Prohm's mentor program, I was his mentor. I don't know that I impacted his life in any way outside of we had some really good meals at Texas Roadhouse. So always enjoy the rolls and the honey butter over there. So, so I was just like, hey man, how you doing? How's everything going? And kind of just, where's your head at? And he was like, man, I'd like to, today, he's like, I haven't met him, I'd like to come back. I like it here. And that was, but there was obviously, he was like, he just didn't know. He didn't know what the deal was. And so, I guess, just sort of just the context clues of after meeting. And, we talked briefly yesterday, and, he just said he wants to go. His wording was, I just want to chase a more important role, which I get. It's like, look, obviously didn't get to play this year, played in 5 games. 3 of those were really insignificant minutes. And, it's a new coach coming in, and it's like, you just bring in a ton of dudes. And if you're not going to be one of those dudes right out of the jump, it's like, I get it. You want a fresh start. You want to be somebody else's dude that gets brought in. And so, um, Jordan, 6'8" wing forward, sort of looking for his spot at this level. And I certainly hope the best for him wherever he lands. And hopefully we'll see him do great things here in the next 3 years. That was the goings. Then it came to the comings. And, the first one that popped out was a young man, another Creighton product, a young man by the name of Frederick King. This gentleman, 6'9", listed at 6'9", 250. Played the last 3 years at Creighton. On 3 Sports reporting that he has signed with the Racers. Nothing official out of Murray State yet. He's a guy, again, look, in a vacuum, 7 minutes a game at Creighton, 3 points a game at Creighton. But he has played behind one of, if not the best centers in all of college basketball, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's a 3-time All-Big East player, a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East. So he has played behind just a dude. And obviously King with a relationship, a long relationship with Ryan Miller here in his times at Creighton. And so he was brought in. The one thing, it's always been it has become some sort of a running joke. I think it's a joke. I know it's not a joke. To me, it's become a joke of the, last year when we were going through the portal, really every year that I've paid attention to this and interacted with Racer fans about, bringing folks in as out of the portal or recruits. And it's always like, where's the big guys? Where's the big guys? We need big guys. And my response to that has always been twofold of like, look, one, Murray State has never really had big guys. And number two, bigs that you would equate with being big. But then you also have, now in this NIL world, there is a supply and demand, and there's not a lot of big guys walking the streets. And so the limited supply, the demand is high, and in the NIL world, the cost is high as well. And so that is, that has been the issue. Well, as we talk all the time about distressed assets, this is, on paper, a guy that plays 7 minutes a game and averages 3 points a game. He's a distressed asset, but he is a unit. It's just as he is listed at 6'9", 250. Now, if we know anything, listed heights are not always maybe legit. Is that the word we want to go? I mean, Kyron Lindsay is listed at 6'8". Nick Ellington listed at 6'7" off of last year's roster. Kyron Lindsay is not 6'8", and Nick Ellington is not 6'7". So even if we bust him down from 6'9" to maybe 6'7", that's a legit 6'7" at least. The weights are usually pretty good, and so 250. If we're going to go on the low end and say 6'7", 250, that is a unit. And as one person around the program told me yesterday, who walked by Mr. King, he was, quote, a mountain of a man. We like mountain men, without question. So to bring some size and to really be able to bring a dude in there is huge. And so, I think that, again, how do we get him? Distressed asset, probably able to get him for a little, cheaper than if he had played 15 minutes a game and averaged 8 points a game. The price goes up. Obviously, the relationship he's had with Ryan Miller does not hurt anything whatsoever, giving him an opportunity to come in here and play. And so, and also, from an NIL standpoint, this Racer program now has unprecedented NIL. I mean, for this program, without any question. We're looking at, definitely more than double last year, which was really the first year there was any real NIL in the program, potentially triple. And so so there is more financial resources to go get guys that hasn't been there in the past. So we'll see how this progresses in terms of, at this point we're up to 3 guys. I still got 12 more to go in terms of resource allocation, but a huge get, figuratively and literally, here from Creighton to go get Frederick King. So as I wiped the sleep out of my eyes yesterday, and we've got Frederick King allegedly signing with the Racers. Next, right out of the gate, we get another announcement, which comes from this young gentleman. His name is Emerson Tenor, better known as KJ, a freshman who is from Memphis, Tennessee. And as I said yesterday, point guards from Memphis, Tennessee, in Murray, Kentucky, have worked out pretty well over the years. Went to Cordova High School. He was an all-state player at Cordova, and he's been at West Virginia. Signed with Darren DeVries over there. Played 1 year, and again, 6 foot tall. Didn't play a lot. Now this is the difference, and really the difference from guys that we signed a year ago. It was a lot of last year guys, 4th year guys, 5th year guys. Whether it's Terrence Harcum, whether it's AJ Ferguson, whether it's Kylan Milton, guys that are coming in, they're giving you 1 year on their way out, and and then they're done. This is the first time really in this era we have a sophomore coming in, a guy that's got 3 years of runway ahead of him if he so chooses to use it. He played 13 minutes a game, again, at West Virginia in the Big 12. He averaged 2.5 points. He averaged 1.1 assists and 0.4 turnovers per game. So extrapolated out over the year, his assist to turnover ratio was 32-12, almost 3 to 1. Anything over 2 to 1, you're ecstatic about. And certainly at the point guard position, we want as few, we need to stop turning the ball over. And so a kid that has this is a situation unlike maybe a Frederick King, maybe a Mason Miller coming in, who are in their final years. They're just about refined products, physically. And this is, they're just looking for an opportunity to really be able to showcase, what they have in one final year. When you have a KJ Tenor, this is still a kid you're getting him on the front end. You're getting him on potential, because here's a 4-star kid out of high school that goes to West Virginia 1 year, and now he wants to, he's looking for, obviously the coaching change there. He wants a new start, come to Murray. Point guard you, as he learned already. He had that on his social media post yesterday. But it's huge to get a kid that, this is a foundational piece, might be able to build around for a few years. But a kid that was certainly good enough coming out of high school to be recruited and signed with West Virginia. Let's see how he fits into Ryan Miller's system and so on. But this is another. Maybe we're unable to get him out of high school now. A 4-star kid that ends up going to the Big 12. That's not a situation where, again, you can get him early, but distressed asset. Now you get him on the bounce back, and we get at least a year. And that's ultimately the way this whole thing goes. We get at least a year, and we see how it rolls with Tenor. But right now, 3 guys confirmed on the roster for next year. 2 coming out of the Big East from Creighton and Mason Miller and Frederick King. 1 coming out of the Big 12 in point guard from West Virginia in KJ Tenor. So there is roster bolstering most certainly so far from Ryan Miller. Maybe more coming soon. Obviously, they have to be coming soon as the time is continuing to tick away. Coaches are all down at the Final Four this week. This is the big national convention where it's the big gathering place every year at the Final Four. Most coaches don't actually stay for the games, but like Thursday, Friday, yesterday, everybody flies down. They have their conventions, and it's just the mass gathering. So how much outside of guys that have already met with the coaches and maybe they'll slide in here the next day or two, say, yeah, I've committed. That's great. There won't be any other movement, I guess is the best way to put it, moving forward. So at least for the next 2-3 days till Coach Miller gets back into town. But that was big yesterday, and it's a funny thing where um, you're trying to be. It is the ultimate hope springs eternal is probably the best way to put it. Where it's like everybody's 0-0, and you're adding guys to the team, and what you get is this, man, I feel so fired up about these guys coming in. And it was like it was the same way it was last year. I mean, because you're looking at these 2-minute YouTube clips, and you're like, dude, that guy's great. That guy can play. Can't wait to see him in a Murray uniform. This is awesome. And it's just like we've never seen we've never actually seen them play. Certainly play together, and that is just the uh, that's the magic of this time of year. And as we continue to add pieces, this is just going to be a continued, like, everybody just continues to get excited. Um, so let's see. So we're just checking some comments here. So expecting to hear from our old players first before hearing about outside transfers. I have been surprised by that, and I reached out to uh, somebody around the program yesterday, and I think the simple answer has just been it has been. I don't think you can fully grasp how, like, 24/7 this job has been for Coach Miller from getting here, and just trying to get a staff, trying to figure out where he's living, trying to figure out just everything, and trying to meet with players. And you're trying to, the portal's open, it's been open. He's trying to meet with guys, whether by Zoom, whether they're coming to campus. I think Murray State was on spring break for a little bit, so guys haven't come back. You're just trying to find these times, and I just got the sense from also Nick Ellington telling me the other day, where it's like, look, I'm just trying to build, part of the reason why he got into the portal, he's like, I'm just trying to build a relationship with Coach Miller. And I just think there's a um there's a lack of urgency right now from the guys. It feels there's a time we got to make a decision, but at the same time, it's like, I don't have to make a decision this minute. And so I think there's just I have no idea how those conversations have gone with Ryan Miller and the individual players. I don't know that he's met with all of them yet. I can't say 100% yay or nay on that, but I know it has been hard for them to meet with as many guys as they've wanted for a variety of reasons. And so to see Jordan McCullum yesterday, I felt like, okay, it finally happened. We finally got someone to say something out of that 6 or 7 guys. Obviously, Kyron Lindsey's in the portal. Nick Ellington's in the portal. Both guys are potentially coming back. So that is, they're in that murky gray area. But the Applewhites and the Morgans and the Chews, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. And then the freshmen too. That's the other part. The 2 freshmen coming in. We just don't know what their status is going to be. So it's early. It's early. The portal closes in 19 days. So that's, I don't even know that's a hard and fast day, other than that's just the next step in the milestone. So, let's see, one other question here. We'll get to. Do I have a list of the players Coach Miller recruiting from the old? I do not. I do not. I have not had an opportunity to speak with Coach Miller yet, outside of his introductory press conference. And I think the main thing, with that is, it doesn't matter if it was Steve Prohm, if it was Matt McMahon, if it was the coaches are not just handing over to us dopes lists of players. And here's what we're looking at, and whatever. There's 1,000 places online that sort of say, the verbal commits place is a great place to go, where it's like, who's heard from who, and again, because, and it's sort of been my hesitancy to put out every single player that has heard from Murray State, which, to get people excited about, or just at least even have an opinion about who's on, who's talked to the rate. I've heard from Murray State can mean a coach reached out and said, hey, would you be interested in talking to us? And the kid might go, yeah, or no, I'm looking for something bigger or smaller or left or right or whatever. So just saying that I've heard from them is basically trying to go on a date and asking for a phone number. Like that's as far. We have not even set a date to meet. We have not had a conversation. We have not had dinner, drinks, or anything. So it is you just have to take everything with sort of a grain of salt. Once you start seeing reports of, whether it's a Zoom visit, whether it is an on-campus visit, that's when, all right, things are starting to cook a little bit. But just we've had contact. I've heard from these schools. A lot of times that's just agents in this world, this NIL world, trying to, get my guy's name out there and sort of drum up interest of, hey, I've heard from these 10 schools. And then maybe some 11th and 12th school goes, oh boy, look out. We need to hurry up and get on this kid because other people are knocking on his door. So that is one, just something to keep in mind when you see that stuff get released. The big news in the conference yesterday, from a Missouri Valley standpoint, Johnny Kinziger, the sophomore guard out of Illinois State, announced last night he is coming back. He was one of 3 all-conference players that from this year that could return next year that hadn't already graduated or gotten into the portal. 2 of them now are from Illinois State, Johnny Kinziger and Chase Walker. Trey Campbell from Northern Iowa, he is the only one who has not made a public statement about his future, which again, as we've talked about, is kind of crazy that kids have to make public statements, but I haven't really even heard anything in terms of smoke that would lead you to believe it was fire that he might be leaving. So you just believe he's hanging tight and will be back at Northern Iowa next year. But what you're seeing right now at Illinois State is a remarkable job in terms of retention from Ryan Pedon. Now going into year number 4 at Illinois State, he's going to have Chase Walker back, their leading scorer, first team all league, 15 points a game. He's got Johnny Kinziger coming back, 14 and a half points a game, shot 39% from 3, second team all conference. And then some guys, in sort of that next tier, you've got a Jack Doherty, who was a great freshman. Kid shot 47% from 3, absolute sharpshooter. I mean, he averaged 6 points a game, but it's a guy coming off the bench, knocked down a bunch of shots. And then Ty Pence, another kid, averaged 7 points or so a game. And the fifth part of that is Landon Wolf, who's got a senior year. He transferred from Northern Iowa, played there last year, averaged 6 points or so a game, 6.5 points. He hasn't made any public declarations, but if Wolf comes back, they're going to have 5 of their top 7 scorers coming back from this season. And the 2 that aren't coming back graduated. I mean, that is a level of, it's just continuity. And this is the thing where you default to continuity. I'm not ready to just fully knee jerk after one season, but look, Drake wins the league. They got a first-time head coach, but he brings 4 guys with him from his former school. Continuity, they win the league. Who finishes second? Bradley, who had all those guys back, and that continuity. So is it a guarantee that you're going to win? Certainly not. But I firmly believe it gives you a leg up, at least, on the field. There's going to be schools that are going to go out and are just going to be able to flat outdo you and go get some guys and are going to go win games because of how they did in the portal and in recruiting and so on, and be able to just go get you after 1 year. But man, I love the continuity, and Ryan Pedon has done a heck of a job. Whatever they're doing up there, in terms of, and their NIL has, I don't know about the dollars and cents, just in terms of the infrastructure. They've been very active in that the last couple of years, and to see them be able to retain guys, I think I just think it's a great, hopefully it is a great sign of things to come in this league. That is the part that, and really in college basketball, I gotta believe, I just believe there is a level of, there's a bubble that has to burst here at some point. And the guys just running from school to school to school and across the country. And so I think that it's like, look, as you see guys leave, and there are more situations to point to kids and go, see, if he was first team all league here and he went somewhere big and he did not play, the more of a pile of those kids that mid-major coaches can point to and go, look, this happened. So maybe stay here and be awesome and help us, and we'll get you paid, and we'll, So what's more important, the money or actually playing? And I think that's the thing. Kids want to play. Kids don't want to just take a check and go sit because they can do that once, but year two, they're not going to get paid again to just sit. So just something to keep in mind as we go on. But Ryan Peden certainly set up on April the 3rd here. I see no reason. That Illinois State will not be the preseason pick to win the Valley when that comes out 6 months from now. We've got a little bit of time to go there. Let's see. Other news and notes on the women's side. Belmont season ends last night in the WBIT championship at Hinkle Fieldhouse, 75-63. Great run for them. Again, lost, of course, to Murray State in the Missouri Valley tournament championship game. Got into the WBIT, made a run all the way to the finals, falling to Minnesota. And then Illinois State was in the semifinals of the WNIT last night, the Fab Four. No Final Four. We're the Fab Four in the WNIT. On the women's side, they fell. Shannon Dowell scored 37 for Illinois State, but Troy won 99-96. So I think, unless I missed somebody, I think we're done playing college basketball for the 2024-25 season in the Missouri Valley Conference. Let's see. I've got my notes here. Oh, one other thing tonight while you're watching television. Make sure you head over to ESPN about 6:00 tonight, as we will have still current racer until the end of the season. Kylan Milton will be participating in the dunk contest. I don't remember who the sponsor is, and I apologize. Sponsor everywhere out there. Your 6:00 ESPN tonight. He will be in the college slam dunk contest there at the Final Four down in San Antonio. I think there's only 6 guys in it, so. It's a combination. If you're there at 6:00 going, where's the dunk contest? It's also, there's a 3-point contest worked in there as well. But Kylan is the one guy from the Missouri Valley and obviously from Murray State that'll be participating. We saw some monster dunks from Kylan this year, and hopefully he'll be able to, with his freak athleticism, be able to put on a show down there in San Antonio. One other thing before I get out of here today, which is this NCAA tournament has been interesting from a standpoint of my level of give a darn. And, it's one of those things where I realized coming in that I have been so, I have been so immersed in the Missouri Valley Conference. That's probably the best way to do it. Immersed in the Missouri Valley Conference, that literally from November 1st until the opening Thursday of the NCAA tournament, I don't know that I watched 15 minutes of college basketball anywhere in the country this year that did 15 like real-time minutes of college basketball that did not involve the Missouri Valley Conference. And so when it came to filling out a bracket, when it came to like all of it, I was like, I don't know. I can't name. So what, we're down the Final Four of Florida and Houston and Duke, and I'm missing someone. Auburn. I can name Janai Broom on Auburn because I know he played at Morehead State. I can name Cooper Flagg at Duke because I know he's going to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. I just feel so woefully behind when it comes to just college basketball as a whole this year. And so when I sat down with my buddy and we binged basketball for 2 days, I was like, this is all just, I recognize the sports going on. I don't know what I'm watching. I don't know who I'm watching as much as anything, which brings me to the college basketball crown tournament, which is going on in Las Vegas right now. Did you know that? I did not know that. I literally stumbled upon it today, and it was an, oh, that's right, that's going on situation. 16-team tournament out in Las Vegas. Butler, Boise State, Utah, George Washington, Nebraska, Arizona State, Georgetown, Washington State, Cincinnati, DePaul, Central Florida, Oregon State, Villanova, Colorado, USC, and Tulane. It's a whole bunch of teams that did not make the NCAA tournament. And so this is you may remember a year ago, they changed the rules on the NIT where you had to be the old rules of if you were a regular season champion, you got an automatic berth to the NIT if you didn't get into the NCAA, which was good, especially for the mid majors, that it was like, that's your carrot to play for if you can't get in. And this college basketball crown tournament was invented, which then forced the NCAA to change the rules on the NIT to say, no, 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 no. Now we're really only going to make this, you have to basically have a net ranking. They call it the NIT rating, which is a combination of a bunch of computer metrics, that it had to be above a certain level, and that's the only way you could get into the NIT, and that's why the NIT cut out a bunch of mid majors. Well, of course, a lot of power schools are like, yeah, we don't want to play in the NIT. Well, why? Because now you have these 16 schools going to Vegas to play in the college basketball crown, which is offering NIL money to the winners. There is, if my math is correct here, it's $500,000 total. It's not a huge amount of money, if my math is right. There's $300,000 goes to the winner, to the NIL, to their NIL account. It's $100,000 to the runner-up, and then $50,000 to the semifinalists. Not a lot of money. Certainly not nothing. Certainly would be more appreciated, I would think, to some lower level schools rather than these bigger schools. But I'm just curious, and I hope to have Missouri Valley Commissioner Jeff Jackson on here soon to sort of get some, rather than just speculating from the hills and uneducatedly, but to get some thought process from him. Is how do we get into this tournament? Like, how are these 16 teams? Because it can't just be, you obviously, a lot of them are from power schools, but George Washington's from the A10. You've got some American schools in there, but if you just look at net ratings, look, Bradley finished 80th in the net. Well, Bradley, of those 16 teams, Bradley was better than 8 of those schools in the net. Northern Iowa finished 93rd. They were better than 4 of those schools. So I'm like, I don't know what the barrier for entry is, but you've got cash on the table right now that the Missouri Valley and their schools don't have access to. Then you have this, I think it's called the Players Era Festival, which is, again, out in Las Vegas, and it'll happen in November. There was 8 schools that played in it back this past November, and it's sort of an early season tournament. But all of those schools, now this is where there's real cheese on the Whopper, where they get $1 million to show up to play in that tournament. This coming fall, that tournament's going to expand from 8 to 18 to get $1 million to add to your NIL fund. And then in 2026, the tournament's expanding to 32 schools. Again, at this point, getting $1 million to add to their deal. Now, you just look at the names of the schools that are going to those programs, or going into play in that event. They are heavy hitting programs, certainly. This is going to be, we talk a lot about the NCAA tournament and the units, and man, the SEC getting 14 teams in, and how that financially benefits those schools. As you get 14 into the first round. That's 14 units. I mean, at this point, it would take a decade for the Missouri Valley to get that many, and those schools didn't even win any games. That's the crazy part. Once they start winning, get to the Sweet 16, you get Auburn to the Final Four. I mean, they probably, by the time the dust settled, I bet they got 30 units in this event, which at $2 million a unit, it's you're looking at $60 million. I mean, that is the difference, and where Drake won 1 game for the Missouri Valley, and the Missouri Valley is going to get $4 million to split up. So you have that haves and have-nots. But now you get into this situation with this player era deal where the schools are getting $1 million to walk in to throw in the NIL. Well, again, Murray State had 400,000 a year ago. How impactful would that be? That's a big deal. Now, the question I have, though, is, hey, it'd be awesome to get Missouri Valley schools into this event. What kind of battle royal would it be, though, of who gets to go? Because it's not money that gets split up in the conference. You get invited, you get $1 million. How much of I don't even call it a head start. I mean, it's just like off to the races advantage for one school in the Missouri Valley to get into this event, and to get $1 million to throw into their NIL fund would be gigantic. So number one, I don't know if any Valley teams can get in there, but you got to feel like there's some behind the scenes door knocking, like, hey, what do we have to do to get in? But then it's like, okay, but who gets in? And how does that work? Because, if just say Murray State, hey, come on in. We'll have you come in. There's going to be 10 other schools in the Missouri Valley going, whoa, 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 what is happening? And so that's just going to be one more thing to watch. But we'll hope to talk to Jeff Jackson here in the coming weeks to try to get some answers on that. All right, I believe that does it for this live edition of the Racer Basketball Podcast, your Thursday morning anything but fast break. Thanks for joining us today on Facebook, on YouTube. And again, if you're listening to us like you always do on racerbasketball.com or over at the Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we appreciate you for listening as always. Tomorrow, a big day, more content coming out, Missouri Valley Centric. We'll have more on that as the day progresses today. I know you're all just chomping at the bit at that, but thank you as always for you being with us today. Thanks to Gillum Thompson Furniture for sponsoring today's edition of the Racer Basketball Podcast. Enjoy your Thursday. Hope everybody's safe. Stay dry. Line up the animals 2x2 because it is going to rain for the next 72 hours. So it is stay safe, everybody. Appreciate you listening. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll talk to you soon. Go Racers.